Welcome to the Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we will argue that the country is experiencing a Machiavellian moment. That is, Mother Kenya is pregnant with change, but there is no midwife to deliver the new baby. As she goes into labor, the midwives are on strike, not because they love country, but because their private clinics are minting money from the strike. But if midwives are not attending to pregnant Mother Kenya, what are they delivering in their private clinics? In our view, they're delivering air. Because we ate a half-baked constitution, we're politically constipated, and our swollen stomachs have been confused for pregnancy. That is why Mother Kenya, pregnant with change, has no midwife. The midwives are making money in private clinics.
If our Machiavellian moment is one of a nation pregnant with change, but the midwives are on strike, will the baby wait? Will the baby delay its arrival until we are ready? From our reading of Mother Nature, the rhythms of time are harsh. They have no respect for humans. And this is why change will be delivered with or without a midwife. Change will be a surprise. But I must add one more thing. Our current moment is also a constitutional moment. We have a political crisis that is not obvious to all. And the solution to this crisis is constitutional change. When we fought in 2007, it was because the Constitution was rigid. But today, our fights are also because the Constitution is rigid. The war in NASA is not a war between brothers. It is a war against a rigid Constitution. Consider why.
Let us begin with the NASA war against Kalonzo. This war has Raila written all over it. If this is true, Raila wants to depict Kalonzo as a watermelon. In fact, Raila is the one who invented this watermelon label against Kalonzo. And as he delivered this abuse, he also told Kalonzo that the presidential race was not a beauty contest, that Kalonzo's beautiful face was rubbish. Now Raila has a new scheme against Kalonzo. He wants to depict Kalonzo as a traitor. He wants to lock Kalonzo in an abusive NASA marriage where Raila is the man, and if Kalonzo tries to run away, he's portrayed as a traitor. Our question here is this: what is wrong with betraying NASA? Why is it a national crime? And if Mudavadi is the father of NASA, as he claimed on TV, and Raila is the macho man of NASA, where does that leave Kalonzo?
The Machiavellian moment is also a NASA moment. The moment is ripe to retire Raila, but there is no midwife. Opposition is pregnant with change, but the midwife is blind. If he is the candidate, that's Raila, for NASA, that is not change. It is continuity. It is not a national pregnancy. It is actually national constipation with an idea that has failed 3 times. If Raila is a NASA candidate, we will replay the 2013 election. With Kalonzo and Wetangula behind him, Raila only managed 43% of the national vote then. If you add Mudavadi's 4% in that election, the total percentage for NASA is 47%. The question therefore is this: what is new about NASA, apart from a fancy? If NASA candidate is Raila, they will fail. And this is so because you cannot feel the same failure in 2007 and 2013 and expect different results in 2017. Put differently, an orange tree cannot give you oranges today, oranges tomorrow, and then give you pineapples on the 3rd day. If Raila failed in 1997, failed in 2007, and failed in 2013, why should we expect different results from him in 2017?
Let us return to the rigid constitution. If brother has turned against brother in NASA, it is because there is scarcity. Raila does not hate Kalonzo's beautiful face. He's just irritated by it. More so because of the drought. In times of hotness and drought, everything irritates you. But we must diagnose this a little deeper. We will submit that our constitution is half-baked. And this is because it does not reflect our realities. It is a document written by foreign activists for a banana republic. And because constitutions are written in times of crisis, any constitution written without a crisis will precipitate one. Maybe our constitution was written to precipitate a crisis. And maybe the crisis will happen in the 2017 election. The NASA betrayal of brothers is just a starting point. The Raila irritation with Kalonzo is another symptom, and Jubilee's refusal to include others is yet another symptom. If we have a crisis in 2017, will these be the early warning symptoms?
If our constitution was written for a banana republic, it is nothing but a ceasefire document. We wrote it because we were afraid of war. We were afraid of a repeat of 2007. And because we did not trust each other, we asked Muzungus and clever Africans from Muzungu universities to write it for us. Shame on us. This is why our constitution is a patchwork of other people's realities, not ours. Our reality as Kenyans is captured in our politics, our elections, and our dreams. This constitution is blind to our realities, period. If the 2017 election will be a constitutional moment, therefore, it is because our constitution is blind. If NASA will degenerate into a war of brother against brother, it is because our constitution is blind. If Uhuru loses the election to NASA, it is because our constitution is blind. If 2017 election is violent, it is because our constitution is blind. What is my point? Men are not made for constitutions. Constitutions are made for men. They can be changed.
If the Gema vote is 5.2 million, according to IEBC, this is an act of God. And if the Luhya vote is 2.3 million, the Kalenjin vote is 2.2 million, and the Luo vote is 2 million. These are all acts of God. We cannot change them. What we can change, however, is how these numbers combine to create a majority that excludes others. Gema has 5.2 million votes. This is more than the Luhya and the Luo vote combined. And because this is a statistical fact, how do you deal with it? In our view, this is an issue that the Constitution should have dealt with. But because this Constitution was incompetently written, the Gema and the Kalenjin nations will always exercise ethnic majoritarianism. And this is our constitutional tragedy. A tragedy of constitutional misengineering and exclusion.
Raila, in my view, is a turncoat revolutionary. In 2007, we sent him to the house of Pharaoh with a simple message: let my people go. But Pharaoh convinced Raila to share power with him and abandon the struggle. And Raila agreed happily. The result was power sharing with Kibaki. And for this crime of history, Raila was condemned never to see the promised land, that is, the presidency. But this piece of history is actually revisionist and untrue. Here is a trustworthy account of what really happened. Raila went into the house of Pharaoh and agreed to share power. The result was peace and tranquility under the coalition government. But then Raila got greedy. He wanted all the powers to himself. And this is why he supported the removal of the position of Prime Minister. Because he believed he would become president, he did not want to share power with anyone. And because of this sin of selfishness, he is condemned never to see the promised land. He is to die in the wilderness and never to see the presidency. That is what I think.
Now we will turn to the NASA swindle. If brother is standing against brother, it is because of constitutional scarcity. As Thomas Hobbes taught us, if two men desire the same thing, but only one man can get it, the two men must fight. Similarly, if you introduce a scarce resource in an environment of scarcity, the result can only be conflict. And this is our current situation. Our reality demands a Matatu presidency, with everyone climbing all over it. But our constitution, written by Muzungus, is a posh constitution. It provides for a Ferrari presidency that accommodates only 2 people. And if 2017 becomes a crisis election, it is because of this mismatch. The long and short of it is the following. We must change this constitution at zero option. We must expand the executive to accommodate other tribes. And if we do this, NASA and Kalonzo will be safe. Similarly, Uhuru will be safe.